Hey guys. Okay, so we are back with our second hour for this week. And let's hope that we have no more technical problems. Sometimes it's such a challenge fighting through. But let's see if we can continue with our homework and then continue in Unit 6. So let's see if it's going to come on over to the next page. Great. That's all I wanted it to do. All right, so in our homework, we are actually now on page 68 in our workbook. And we are going to focus on page 68. So let's see if I can move myself right about here. That should work. Great. Okay, so on page 68, our instructions are to complete the sentences. On page 68, complete the sentences, right? And we're being asked, what do you do in the evening, right? What do you do in the evening? And if you bear with me, we are going to get these questions answered. Okay, so let's look at number 1. So number 1 is already done. This should actually say do, not D. So number 1A is what do you do on Friday evening? What do you do on Friday evening? And our answer is I go to the library and study. I want you to pretend that there's the word I here. So it's not there because it's not supposed to be there, but it's not supposed to be written there, but in your head, I want you to hear it as almost as if it is there. Because that's an important part of determining or figuring out which is the correct form of the verb. I go to the library and I study. But because we already have I at the beginning of the sentence, we don't have to say it again. So I go to the library and study. But to figure out which one you use, if you have to put the subject, write the subject again, just to be sure, if you have to say it in your head just to be sure, then that's fine. So that's number 1. Number 2, what blank your brother do on Friday evening? He blank soccer. So how do you figure out which form do you use here? Because you have your brother and you have do and does. Well, the first way to figure out is to look at the answer. And the answer says he. So imagine that instead of your brother here, you have the word he. What, and so we know that with he, we use does. What does he do on Friday evening? What does your brother do on Friday evening? He plays soccer. He plays soccer. What does your brother do on Friday evening? He plays soccer. Does and plays. Number 3, What does your husband do on Saturday morning? Again, for the clue, he. So what does he do on Saturday morning? He goes shopping. What does your husband do on Saturday morning? He goes shopping. Number 4. What blank your sister do on Saturday night? What blank your sister do on Saturday night? She blank TV. So imagine that instead of your sister, you have she. What does she do on Saturday night? So what does your sister do on Saturday night? She watches TV. She watches TV. Great. That's number 4. What does your sister do? She watches TV. Number 5. What do your sons do every Sunday? What do your sons do every Sunday? Here's our clue right here. They read and exercise. They read and exercise. All right, let's look at number 2, exercise 2. So it says, write a conversation, use the sentences in the chart. So let's look at our chart. We have speaker A and we have speaker B. And these are the phrases that speaker A uses. These are the phrases that speaker B uses. And these are not in correct order. They just have these phrases, so it's up to you to put them in the correct order. So let's first read through all of the phrases from speaker A and all of the sentences from speaker B. So speaker A, what do you do at night? Where's your class? Do you study English? So speaker A is the person asking all the questions. What do you do at night? Where's your class? And do you speak English? Speaker B has to answer the questions. Speaker B has to answer the questions. It's at the Washington Community School. I usually go to class. Yes, I do. So now we're going to take all of these phrases and put them in an actual conversation. So the first question that speaker A asks is, what do you do at night? What do you do at night? That's our first question. So what's the answer to that question? I usually go to class. I usually go to class. That's the answer to that question. What do you do at night? I usually go to class. So then speaker A wants more information. Where's your class? So 2A is, where's your class? Speaker B says, it's at the Washington Community School. It's at the Washington Community School. Great. Speaker A has more questions. Do you study English? And it's kind of hard to see. I wonder. Okay, we'll figure that out later. So the next question is, do you study English? Do you study English? And speaker B's answer is, yes, I do. Yes, I do. Okay, so that's page 68. Let's move on to page 69. So on page 69, we actually have the exercise says to complete the sentences. You can't see the instructions up there, but let me move myself down here. Okay, so complete the sentences. And we have our word bank, and in our word bank, we've got these words: exercises, listen, study, watches, and work. Exercises, listen, study, watches, and work. I have them all right here. And the idea is that you're supposed to write questions. I'm moving on to exercise 4. The idea is you're supposed to use the words in the word bank to answer these questions. So let's look at the different questions. So you see here your Ventures Level 1 book, right? Ventures1. And question 1A, what do you do in the afternoon? What do you do in the afternoon? We look at our word bank, and I study English. So the word study gets removed, and it's now I study English. All right, so let's look at question number 2. You see a picture here, and it tells you something. It gives you some information. It tells you, gives you a clue as to which one of these words you should use. So what does she do in the evening? She blank TV. You have a TV, and then you look at the words here. She watches TV. She watches TV. I just realized I didn't write the answers down over here for you guys, but that's okay. You're smart enough. Number 3. What does he do in the morning? Boy, you see here, you've got all kinds of stuff going on. You got a football, basketball, baseball, soccer. You would think that they would say he plays sports with all these sports, but really it's exercises. He exercises. Okay. Number 4, what do you do on Saturday night? What do you do on Saturday night? And here you have a phone with headphones. So our word, I listen to music. I listen to music. Number 5, what do they do on Sunday afternoon? What do they do on Sunday afternoon? And our word from the word bank, work. They work in the garden. Okay, great. Now let's look at exercise 4. Exercise 4, write questions. So over here you've got different times of day. You've got morning, evening, afternoon, and Saturday. Morning, evening, afternoon, and Saturday. And the question that's written here is, what do you do in the morning? So first you have to look at the answer. The answer says, I play soccer. So if the answer is I play soccer, then you know that the question has to be someone is asking, what do you do? What do you do? I play, right? And here you have, they want you to begin to use the prepositional phrase, the preposition of time, in the morning. So what do you do in the morning? I play soccer. Next, we've got I pay bills. And then you have evening. So our question is number 2, what do you do in the evening? And our answer is I pay bills. Number 3 is afternoon. What do you do in the afternoon? I go shopping. I go shopping. And number 4 is Saturday. What do you do on Saturday? I go to the park. I go to the park. That's our answer for that. So that's our homework. And now we are going to continue in Unit 6. We're going to continue in Unit 6. So in Unit 6, our focus is going to be about prepositions of time. We're going to talk about prepositions of time and how we talk about time. So if right now you're to look at the time, say, and you can see I'm a phone time person. So I look at my phone to see what time it is. And so look at your phone or your clock or your watch and talk about what time is it right now? What time is it? You know, I want you to think about when you go to work. You know, when we talk about time and what time it is, one of the questions that's an important part of asking about time, we've done what do you do, right? When we're talking about time. Now we're going to talk about when. When. And our when questions leads us to answer with what we call prepositions of time. Now, we have talked about prepositions before. We've talked about in, on, at, but we've talked about them when it comes to, or when we're talking about place or location, right? In the store, on the table, right? Now we're going to talk about them when talking about time. And, you know, if you think about it, you know, when we were meeting, you know, in our classroom, you know, someone might ask you, oh, when do you go to school? Or when do you go to work? You know, and your answer will be, oh, I go to work in the morning, or I go to work at 8 o'clock. When do you go to church? I go to church on Sunday, right? These are all usage or using the preposition of time. And so we are going to take a look at that. As you can see right here, in the morning. Now this is, you know, what do you do in the morning? And then here, the answer is I play soccer. Well, our when question would be, when do you play soccer? When do you play soccer? And your answer would be, I play soccer in the morning. When do you pay your bills? I pay bills in the evening. I pay bills in the evening. When do you go shopping? I go shopping in the afternoon. I go shopping in the afternoon. When do you go to the park? I go to the park on Saturday. You know, if we think about our class, when does class start? Class starts at 9:30. When does our class end? Our class ends at 12:30. What days do we have class? We have class on Tuesday and Thursday, or for my Monday, Wednesday class, we have class on Monday and Wednesday. So as we continue this unit, we are going to learn how to use these prepositional phrases, when to use in, when to use on, when to use at, when to use from and to. We're going to be talking about all of that, okay? So that's it for this lesson, and we are going to get started on our next lesson, focusing on the prepositions of time as we continue with Unit 6. See you guys soon.